Hello, dear students, and welcome to this grammar and composition course. This is a course from Setlitz, and my name is Alberto On. We are going to spend some time talking about different topics during this course. And first of all, we are going to start talking about modal verbs. So in this moment, we are going to discuss the definition of a modal verb. We are going to discuss also the types of modal verbs that you can see in real life. We are going to see some examples of these modal verbs, and finally we are going to have some practices, of course, because English is about practice. It's all about practice. As you know, the coronavirus has affected all the world, and now we cannot go out of our houses. So we are going to use this method, which is called distance education. We are going to use videos. We are going to use WhatsApp. We are going to use any kind of technological communication so you and I can be together on this. Okay? So for this course, you're going to need, number one, your set list module. Of course, you're gonna need it. You're gonna need a pencil, very sharpened pencil, and you're going to need a pen of any color. I usually recommend black or blue pen, but if you have red or green or any kind of color, it's fine for me. I don't mind. You can use any color for this to make your module more creative. So if you're ready to begin, let me know. So let's get started. So let's start with the module. And first, let's talk about modal verbs. A modal verb is an auxiliary verb that can express ability, important thing, it can express abilities, it can express possibilities. A modal verb can also express recommendations, and finally we can have also obligations. Of course, modal auxiliary verbs are like a bunch of them, 100 of modal verbs. So in this course we are going to see the most common used, los más importantes, okay? At this point I am going to make a mix between English and Spanish, so if you have a problem with my maybe pronunciation or some words that you don't understand, we can mix that between English and Spanish. I call it Spanglish, okay? So let's continue with the module. Okay, in this moment I need you to open your module. We're going to discuss everything that you saw in your module. I have it also on my screen so we can have both the same information. Podemos tener la misma information in front of the screen, ¿sí? So a modal verb is an auxiliary verb that expresses necessity and possibility. Esto quiere decir que expresa necesidad y posibilidad de hacer las cosas. An auxiliary verb se le puede llamar también helping verb. So, si en algún libro de grammar usted ve que hablan de un helping verb o de un auxiliary verb, estamos hablando de la misma cosa. The most common modal verbs include, y le puse un highlight en amarillo so we can practice not only the spelling, la manera en que se escribe, sino also the pronunciation. So the most common modal verbs are must, shall, will, should, would, can, could, may y finalmente might. Now, let's talk about some features now. Vamos a ver algo de las characteristics de los modal verbs, ¿sí? En el caso de los modal verbs, ellos son muy special, a diferencia de los verbos regulares, como saltar, cantar, jump, sing, swim. Ellos son muy especiales. Because, primero que nada, y vemos la rule number one, you don't add an S to the form in the third person. So, cuando hablamos en present, en tercera persona, no tenemos que agregarle una S extra, asumiendo que es un verbo. No vamos a decir he cans o she cans. Eso, we don't say that. We don't say that. We don't add the S. Rule number 2, they also don't have infinitive forms. Esto es bueno porque solamente se escribe de la manera en que aparecen. They don't have infinitive forms. Ejemplo, we don't say I am canning para decir que yo puedo algo. I am canning. We don't say that. We don't say I am wooding. So this is not correct. We just say I can or I would. Third rule, modal verbs are followed by a base form of the verb. What does this mean? ¿Qué quiere decir esto? It means that the base form of the verb va a ir acompañado de un, en este caso, modal verb. ¿Cuáles son ejemplos de infinitive form? Los podemos ver ahí abajo. Jump, help, sing, play, and read. Now, let's move on into the examples part, shall we? Vamos a ver el example number 1. Dice así: you should stop biting your fingernails. Biting your fingernails. That means that fingernails son uñas. Now, the modal verb that we use today is should. Should is used to express advice. So whenever you're saying should, cuando usted dice should en una oración, usted está técnicamente dando un advice, un consejo a la persona, en este caso sobre no comerse sus fingernails. El example number 2 says here, you must take out the trash before dinner. I repeat that. You must take out the trash before dinner. Eso quiere decir que tú debes sacar la basura antes de cenar. The modal verb that we use here is must. ¿Sí? En este caso estamos utilizando la palabra must. In this example, must is used to express a necessity or obligation. Es decir, when we use the word must, cuando lo utilizamos en una sentence, lo más probable es que estamos hablando de una necessity, algo que necesita hacer la persona, o una obligation. Una obligation. En el example number 3, dice así: Joy might play soccer instead of basketball next year. So Joy might play soccer instead of basketball next year. En este caso, la palabra que estamos utilizando como modal verb es might. Y might is used to express a possibility in this example. ¿Qué quiere decir con esto? Que Joe puede o no jugar soccer en vez de baloncesto el próximo año. No es algo seguro. It's not something, it's not an assurance, por así decirlo. It's just a possibility. So cuando hablamos de possibilities, utilizamos la palabra might. Good. So now we know how to use certain modals and the basic use for them. Vamos entonces a practice de manera formativa y quiero que ustedes elijan, you choose the correct answer about the meaning of the modal forms in the following sentences. I have written, tienen escrito some sentences allí y quiero que ustedes me indiquen si la oración o the sentence that you see is expressing probability, ability, obligation, or permission. Pueden hacerle pausa al video. Van a tener approximately 1 minuto, to read the sentences and complete the activity. Cuando hayan completado, le dan play para ver entonces cómo les fue. Alright, did you finish? Great. So now let's go and review how good you were in this part. ¿Sí? Vamos a ver la number 1. May I use your mobile phone? May I use your mobile phone? What did you put there? Yeah, permission. Permission is the correct one. May se utiliza para permission, para pedir permiso. The next one, may I help you? May I help you? Yes, you're right. That's permission too. Next one says, you must not walk on grass. No debes caminar sobre la hierba o sobre el césped. You must not walk on grass. So what do you think that is?